now, of course, for the GOP to come together to House Budget Committee member, Republican Congressman Drew Ferguson. Congressman, thanks for joining us. About an hour ago, President Trump in the Oval Office with a bunch of mostly formerly no, saying that they're all 100% on board right now. That's absolutely remarkable. Everyone's wondering what compromises might have been made.
Well, I think it says a lot about the leadership of our conference, the rank and file members, and the willingness of the White House to work together. We have seen through this entire process, we have done an amazing job of getting great ideas into this bill. We've gone through the committee process. I can tell you as a freshman, I have felt like I've had my voice heard, and some of the ideas that I've expressed have been included in the bills. I think it's just a real testament to the strong desire of Republicans to put forth this bill, and that's the first step in repealing Obamacare and building a health care system that works for Americans.
And of course, 24 hours earlier, you saw where in the committee, the Budget Committee, 3 Republicans saying no, they voted against it. And, you know, the Freedom Caucus, of course, making the loudest noise on the House side. And apparently some are concerned about near-term hikes in premiums. And even President Trump, during this victory lap in the Oval Office, alluded to the fact that we're going to have to endure more pain before things get better. Will a large part of the final bill be public relations, explaining to people, hey, this thing was such a massive disaster that there's no such thing as a quick fix?
Charles, I think you're exactly right, and I think we've been talking about that. I don't think we have to advertise it. I think the American people know just how bad this bill was. Deep wounds take a long time to heal, and this one cut us to the bone. It is expensive, and it is going to take a long time to unwind this horrible mess that continues to destroy the healthcare system of America and rob middle-class families and really put at risk those that are most vulnerable in our nation to access health care. No doubt we are going to have to continue to hammer away. This is only the very first step, and the pain of Obamacare is going to be felt for a long time. But the good news is that we are determined to push forward and do the things necessary to have the political intelligence and the political will to fight to make sure that Americans have access to quality health care at an affordable price.
Right. Well, Congressman, it looks, though, that your final 2 hurdles are the biggest hurdles. The combination of the tax credits and what to do with Medicaid expansion. I read a report where a majority of the states that have the tax credits are going to have the hardest hit if they're removed would be Republican states. And of course, we've seen a lot of Republican states or so-called red states go into that Medicaid expansion, and hence the reluctance or anxiety going to the Senate with whatever the final House version looks like. How do you overcome those?
Well, first, let's talk about the tax credits. That's a Republican idea that has been well vetted, and we certainly recognize, as do most Americans, that those that are the most vulnerable in our society need some help buying health insurance. I think the conference has really made a strong push to make sure that the most vulnerable are protected, that they have access to care, that they can get coverage with pre-existing conditions.
Should they be refundable?
You know, it's one of the options that's out there, and I think that's not a bad idea up to a certain limit. However, after a certain income, certainly that's, having it as a deduction if you're a small business owner makes a lot more sense than receiving a check from the government. Listen, this is a tough issue. I understand it. People phrase it as creating another entitlement. Quite candidly, we are leveling the playing field between individuals and those that are in the private sector versus and that are small business owners and in the individual markets with those that receive the same benefit through their employer and the employer-based system. This is something that we simply need to make right, and this is just one idea.
Well, Representative Ferguson, congratulations, and thank you very much for taking out the time.